Hey guys, and welcome to the Utopian Book Club. I'm Sarah, and welcome! This is the first book review I'll be doing. It's on The Great Gatsby. Now, The Great Gatsby is one of my favorite classic books. I read it back in high school, and I decided to reread it since we were doing a Great Gatsby week. So, okay. The Great Gatsby takes place in the 1920s, and that's when, all the ragtime stuff was going on. What this story entails is, it is about two couples, which is Daisy and Tom Buchanan, and George and Myrtle Wilson. And of course we have Mr. Gatsby, Mr. J. Gatsby, and we have Nick Carraway. Now, Nick Carraway, he tells the story from his point of view, which is a really neat idea for a book, because you're not looking at, the characters and their points of view. You're looking at someone from the outside looking in, which is really awesome. It was a great idea that the author did, so that you didn't feel like you had a biased opinion of what was going on. Now, this plot takes place in New York on the West Egg and the East Egg, where we have Daisy and Tom on the East Egg, and we have Nick and Mr. Gatsby on the West Egg. So what kind of happens, without telling you any spoilers, because I would like to keep this spoiler-free as possible. It's kind of a love story. It's got Mr. Gatsby going after Daisy, and then Tom has an affair with Myrtle Wilson, and George doesn't know anything that's going on, and you see this, like I said, all from Nick's point of view. There's also another character named Jordan Baker. She's Daisy's friend. She's the one who Gatsby kind of talks to Nick through before Nick and Gatsby meet. It's a really great plot. There's lots of twists and turns in it. Definitely, if you like that. It's kind of mysterious in a way, because you're not quite sure what Gatsby is doing, what his job entails. So that's nice, because it makes you think, and what I love about books is when they make you think, when they make you analyze what's going on, even if you have to reread. So moving on, we've kind of talked about the characters already. Just to give a little more clarification on the characters, we'll start off with Daisy. Daisy is one of those that is very giggly and very girly and kind of loopy in a way. She's got her own little way of thinking and way of talking, which can kind of be confusing when you read the book, because you're like, what is she talking about? I'm not quite sure what she means. She has a way of hiding her feelings, and you don't really figure out what she's really going on about until you get towards the end of the book. Moving on to Tom, who is her husband. He is one of those gruffy men that played football back in college, and another thing with him is him and Nick went to college together. They didn't have a very intimate relationship like best friends, but they knew each other and had that respect for each other. And then we have Mr. Gatsby, who is the mysterious character in the book. You're not quite sure what his job entails, what he's after, until you get further into the book, which is really nice. It just makes you want to read and kind of figure out which story he tells is true and which one's not. Nick Carraway is just the point of view guy. He is, you get to know him, you kind of, it's kind of like buddying up with him, like, okay, this is your point of view. George is just kind of a character that's just kind of there. You don't really get to know him all that well until towards the end of the book. He's one of those characters that you end up kind of feeling sorry for. I mean, he's not a big role in the book, but he's just, I don't want to say he's dopey, because he's not, because he gets smart towards the end, but in a way, but I don't know, he's just kind of there. Myrtle is Tom's mistress, and they have this whole other life in New York. Also with Jordan, she's one of those characters that you can't quite trust. She's one of those that she likes to kind of manipulate a little bit, but she does it in a way where it's not trying to be mean. She's being there for Daisy, and and she's also being there for Nick and Mr. Gatsby. So anyway, moving from the characters, the writing. I would definitely say this writing is very good. It's one of those that you might not get the first time you read through. You might have to read through a couple times. It can be a little confusing in parts because you're like, who said what? I'm not quite sure what's going on. I mean, the author did a very awesome job with his writing, although it can be confusing, like I just said, with trying to figure out what the meaning is behind some of the words, which is why you have to analyze some of the parts in the book, because there's more than just the meaning of what he wrote. You have to go beyond your box of thinking and just try to figure out what's really going on. So with the writing, there's definitely parts where you have to reanalyze, you have to figure out what's going on, you have to think outside of your box. And I know some people, when they read, they don't like to do that, but this is definitely a book where you have to do that. You have to think what's going on more than the picture that I see. As far as going similarities to the movies, the 1974 one, there are quite a few similarities. I definitely like the way they portrayed the characters a lot more than I do the 2013 one. I love the Daisy that Mia Farrow portrays. I like that she made her kind of airy and fluttery and giggly and just kind of over the top. As far as Carey Mulligan, I don't think she portrayed the character as well as Mia Farrow did. As Gatsby, I do believe that Leonardo DiCaprio did a fine job, but Robert Redford, I think, did a really good job. With the 2013 film, there was similarities to the book. I mean, it follows the storyline very well. They did a good job with that. There's just some parts that I just did not enjoy, especially with the Clips singer. I just don't feel like they really portrayed him very well in the 2013 movie. They didn't go into George and Myrtle Wilson very well in the 2013 one, as well as they did in the 1974. As far as the other 4 Gatsby movies or TV shows, I haven't seen them, so I can't really compare them to those. But I do believe that these are the 2 big ones to compare it to. And when you read a book, you get more out of it than you do when you watch a movie. Obviously, they only have so much time in a movie to give you the story, the characters, the plot. And when you read a book, you can figure out more of what's going on inside the characters' heads. And I would definitely say that you need to read this book. If you have seen the movies, you definitely need to read the book. There is more to what's going on than they allude to in the movies. And there's way more going on than the romance with Daisy and Gatsby. There's just so much more in the book that people don't realize. Just so much more. I would definitely say read the book. So this book, I mean, it's been popular for years. It's in several languages, so if you don't speak English, you may be able to find it in your own language, which is awesome. Recommendations. I would definitely recommend this to you classic book lovers. This is definitely a book that's a classic. It's one of those that they have kids reading in schools. If you love, language and stuff, definitely take a look into it. And one of those, if you kind of like the mystery romance, definitely a recommendation from me to read this book if you love classics and literature and stuff like that. I hope you enjoyed this review. The next book I will be reviewing will be The Ranger's Apprentice, the first one. It is a series of books which are amazing. If you like the video, go ahead and like it and comment below. I'd love to hear from you guys to see what you thought if you've read the book before or seen the movies. I'd love to hear from you guys about your thoughts if you liked or disliked anything I said. It's always nice to hear feedback. So, thank you for joining me in the Utopian Book Club, and I will see you next time.